News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Brand new Rasmussen poll that just came in, national, and it shows Trump up over Harris by 5 and RFK Jr. with 3. So that's good, but that's one poll. Nobody knows how this will play out. Remember, all that matters are those swing states. That's it. National polls are great, but all that matters are the swing states. This is ours to win, but the policies are what needs to win out in the vision, not a name-calling and insults and nastiness. Gosh, do we want to win. Speaking of that, the Democrats are going after Walmart, McDonald's, Kroger, and for price gouging. The Democrats also are going after, continuing to this very day, writing a letter, the Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Do you want to have a bear? Let's have a bear. Who wants to have a bear? Yeah. Let me go to my $20,000 Sub-Zero or Wolf refrigerator here. Yeah. I'm sure you have one of those. It might only be worth what the crisper drawer is on mine. Yeah. Hey, I can relate to you. Yeah, let's have a bear. I don't drink beer, but I'm going to do it now. Look at this. I can open a can. Anyway, this clown who, just so you know, Kamala as a senator, for both years she was senator in 99 and 20 that Gov tracked her. She was more liberal than Elizabeth Warren, who literally is attacking grocery stores and fast food for the price gouging instead of inflation from Bidenomics. So they wrote, Elizabeth Warren, Bob Casey, and other Democrat senators are writing letters to Kroger. They're outraged that Kroger is introducing a digital pricing thing, like digital pricing strips, where the price can change without having to be marked on there. And they're saying that can give them price gouging. Well, you go to the store, and if it's not a good price, then you just don't buy it. I remember 25 years ago or 35 years ago, it might be, when I was in high school, whenever that was, in it was junior college, probably 93. And my dad, one of my best friend's dad, who did very, very well as a Greek immigrant and saved up his money and played the stock markets and all that stuff and was very wise with his money. He still shopped when he had solid money, lots of money, and he still shopped at 3 different grocery stores to get the best prices. How is that any different from this? Democrats are yelling at them and saying you're price gouging. It's a lie. They're yelling at fast food saying you're price gouging. But no, that's not true. It's Bidenomics. It's Bidenflation. And for example, here's some things. In 2020, when Joe Biden took over office from Trump, a gallon of milk was $3.32. Today, it's $4.09. Think of that. That's a 77-cent increase in the past 3 years for the same thing, a gallon of milk. Trump's last day of office, average price of gas in Wisconsin, $2.09. Today, it's $3.48. On the same time frame there in Erie, Pennsylvania, it was $2.76. Today, it's almost exactly $1 higher, it's $3.74. So let me continue on. The outrage continues, but look at this. Food, here's what Joe Biden and Kamala have done in their policies in 3.5, 4 years. The food at home is now up 26.2% since 4 years ago. 22.6%. 26.2%. Almost, yeah, so 26% in the past 4 years. Restaurant meals, when you go out to eat food away from home, is 27% increase. Well, when you print more money and you give more free stuff away, and to do that, you have to print more money. Everything becomes more expensive. We had economist Stephen Moore on the other day, and the man's an economic genius. Or was it yesterday we had him on? I can't remember. Everything blends together, I always say. Americans ranked inflation and prices their most important issue in the latest Economist YouGov poll, reports CNBC, in this report I'm talking about today. McDonald's. There's an $18 Big Mac meal at a Connecticut location at that shows that's how much a Big Mac meal is in Connecticut. This is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is their spending of $5.3 trillion. That may be even as high as $6.2 trillion. The McDonald's says their Big Mac 10-piece nugget are up 21% and 28% respectively. Big Mac 21%, McNuggets 28%. And then here come the liberal Democrat senators. It's outrageous that as families continue to struggle to pay to put food on the table. Grocery giants like Kroger roll out surge pricing and corporate profiteering schemes. That's what it is. Do you know what the average grocery store margin is? Profit margin, 2 to 3%. Yeah, they're gouging. 2 to 3%. What do you want them to make? 0.05%? You know what the discount my son got when he worked at Tom Thumb was his first job? Actually, his first job was doing lawn for my buddy. His job was, you know how much of a discount he got at Kroger? Because they price gouge, 10%. I was outraged when he told me that. I mean, what am I going to do? He's 14, 15, getting his first job. 10% discount. I'm like, what is that? That's a rounding error. But that's because they don't have a lot of profit, and they're going after them. Here's my questions for you on all this inflation, gas prices, high energy prices. Your energy prices have skyrocketed under Joe Biden because he's been regulating it over the top and disallowing it. Who do you blame for out of control prices at the grocery store, the gas stations, or the restaurants? Who or what do you blame for the out of control prices at the grocery store, gas stations, and restaurants? And how did we get here? How do you think we got here, and who do you blame for these out-of-control prices? 800, lines wide open. Chime in right now. I want you on this segment. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Who do you blame for our out-of-control prices at the grocery store, gas station, and our restaurants, and how do you think we got here? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. 45% of voters in a new YouGov poll the other day said that they believe that personal finances would be better off under Trump than they would Kamala. Why? Because Trump's going to go after price gouging. Not! He's going to lower inflation. The day he left office, it was 1.4. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and 18 months later, brought it up to 9.1%. Freaking shocking and disgusting and unnecessary and filthy and vile. And how do they respond to that? By spending another $3, $4, $5 trillion after that. Disgusting. Did nothing but cause more problems for us. Give away more college, which raises inflation. So 7% of voters believe the Biden-Kamala administration's economy is very good. 7%. 34% say it's very bad. A 27% differential between good and very bad. Very good and very bad. The other thing is, what are profit margins at the fast food sector? I'm going to give you those coming up next. I also want to share this story today from the Dallas Morning News. That's another aspect of high prices, inflation that the Bidenomics has cost us. It is back to school products. Wait till you hear how much more expensive the average back to school expenses are for parents in Dallas County right now, according to the Dallas Morning News. That's coming up also in 3 minutes at 8:15. Chime in right now, though. I want to hear from you. Who do you blame for out-of-control prices at the grocery store, gas station, and restaurants, and how did we get here? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The answers on the fast food profit margins and how badly back-to-school products have gone up is in 3 minutes on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Costs of everything are insane. It did not happen under Donald J. Trump. We were prosperous. Our bank accounts were much fatter. Our income was much higher. Our savings was much higher. Our interest rates for homes and auto loans were much lower. And it was les en bon temps, or however you pronounce that. Let the good times roll. Biden and Kamala come in, and they are profligate spenders. They're just profligates. Boom, 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 cash, 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 print, 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 give away free stuff that everybody pays for, and blowing through $5.5 to $6.5 trillion in under 4 years. It's mind blowing, and it's horrifying what it's done to our economy. Some other examples here. Insurance has increased 22% in just the past year. If you paid $1,000 for your insurance premium for the year, you are now paying $1,222 for that insurance, same premium. Mortgage, the average mortgage in America on Trump's last day was $1,700. It is now $3,300. We are all becoming poor or poorer. And the wealthy and upper middle class and beyond are doing well because their investments are actually the way they have their investments. when inflation goes up, they make money off of the investments they have. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying you're having the haves and the have-nots grow wider and wider under Kamala Biden. The interest rates went up from between 2% and 4% for a house to 7% roughly. I mean, it's mind-numbing. You cannot afford a house when your monthly payment went from, $400 a month interest. Let's make up a number here. To look at these percentages, doubling or tripling. It goes from you having the same house could have been, $2,000 a month, and now it's $3,000 or $2,800 a month just because interest rates. That's what happens when you spend like a profligate. And then today, the Dallas Morning News featuring uniforms and the cost of living, the cost of expenses for back to school. Back to school prices are now on average $885 per child this year, 25% more than last year. We can't live. This is our election to win. These people don't know what they're doing. They spend and give, turning us to socialism, destroying this country. So I ask you this. Who do you blame for our out-of-control gas prices and out-of-control prices at the grocery store, the gas station, and the restaurants? And how did we get here? Tom in Frisco, sir, you have called in. Our number, by the way, lines wide open. We got 4 lines open before we take Tom. 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now. 800-288-9227. Tom in Frisco, you are on WBAP. Hi, thanks for listening.
Hey, Chris. It's none of the following as far as the gas stations, grocery stores, etc. What did Biden do the very first time he was in our very first year he was in office? He doubled the cost of gas.
Yes.
Now, what kind of ripple effect does that have? How many things do we buy that are made locally?
That's exactly
Not many.
That's a brilliant point that you're making. Explain more on that.
Well, naturally, the manufacturer has to get basic goods to manufacture the product from somewhere, sometimes from overseas. So just getting the product to the manufacturer costs more money because of that. Then the manufacturer has to ship it out to places like warehouses of Walmart or wherever, and that costs more. Then they have to ship it out to the stores, so that costs more. I mean, that had such a ripple effect that was a big portion of the night, because our gas prices doubled that year.
Let's talk about this a little bit more. The driver that is driving these long-haul semis or short-haul trucks or whatever they are, those drivers have to get an extra, $5, $10, $20 an hour to work to keep working or to hire. The cost of insurance to insure those vehicles just this past year went up 22%. So you have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for benefits, you have to pay for much higher wages to attract and keep people. You have to pay double for gas prices. And then you've got the Biden administration regulating you, trying to turn you into EVs and mandating EVs for fleets for vehicles within 6 years. The regulations, the hyper regulations, the out of control spending turned everything on its rump. I was listening to another story earlier today, and they were talking about why I can't remember what industry or what business it was. I'll remember it in a minute. But they literally people are like, well, how can you raise your prices so much? Like, because we have to pay these people more. We just have to. Otherwise, they're not going to be making enough money. They're not going to work here. So all this has, like you just said, a ripple effect. And guess what else? The energy to cool the refrigerators at the grocery store, the energy to heat the parts of the grocery store that need to be heated. The lights to keep on, everything. Our electricity bills are more expensive. Their electricity bills are more expensive. Everything has skyrocketed under this presidency. In fact, I would challenge to see what hasn't gone up.
One other thing I'd like to mention is how much has he spent and how much of that was printed money?
Most of it was.
And
Kamala said,
understand.
I shared that yesterday. She's like, we could do Build Back. We need Build Back Better now, and we will pay for it. From what? From money that's printed, money that's printed that goes on the backs of us.
Well, and we all know that the more you have of something, the less it's worth.
Yes,
So
and that's what Stephen Moore, the economist for Trump administration, says, and the Fox News contributor and Fox Business contributor. He's like, it's very simple, actually. The more you print, the less it's worth, and the less it's worth, the more you have to spend. Go ahead.
And people have to realize, they throw this word around trillion like it's no big deal. I ask a lot of people how much a trillion actually is. Nobody really has thought through it. A trillion, my friends, is a million millions.
A million billions.
No, a million millions.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
1,000 billions.
Okay.
1,000 millions is a billion, and 1,000 billions is a million.
That's insane.
I mean, a trillion.
1,000 billions.
A million millions.
That's insane.
That is. Well, here's another way.
That's like what, 5 Musks? Five Musk is the wealthiest man in the world. I think he's got 250 billion or something. I don't know what, or something like that. 250 billion or 200 billion. Yeah, that's like 4.5 Musks. Oh wait, what is he? Wait, my producer Garrett's got a great little 223 billion. That's literally 4 Musks.
Yeah. Now,
that's insane.
Here's something I think you'll appreciate. People, if you don't understand how much money that is, Jesus died a little over 2,000 years ago. There's 365 days a year. We're going to round it down to 2,000 to make it easy math. That means he's been dead 730,000 plus days.
Mm-hmm.
If you spent $1 million every day that Jesus has been dead, you would not have spent $1 trillion.
That's amazing. $1 million a day, every day. Okay, wow. Great call. Let's see. Tim and Granbury. Chris and Granbury, I'm going to take you next. I don't want you to go anywhere. You stay right there. I promise I'll knock you right out of the box next. I also want to get more specific. The average person on back to school spending is $885 per child this school year, reports the Dallas Morning News in Dallas. Do you understand that? That is 25% more than a year ago. Bidenomics is working, Kamala said, 5 times this past year. Almost $300 more right now than the national average in DFW, for example, but $885, 25% in 1 year. So I'll give you more details on this, and you can tell me what you're seeing in back to school shopping. This is not sustainable. All right, Chris and Granbury, you'll be next. I have more details on how bad specifically some of the things are for back to school shopping coming up at 9:33. Next to the Chris Crock Show, WBAP. Inflation, Democrats writing letters, several Democrat senators, and this is what Kamala has said, same thing. She'll fight price gouging, she has said during rallies. So Democrats blame it on price gouging at grocery stores, gas stations, and fast food. The percentage for grocery store of profit is 2 to 3%. And for fast food restaurants, average profit margin for the Restaurant Association says is 5 to 8%. For every dollar they sell, they earn 5 to 8 cents. McDonald's and Burger King supposedly boast around 18% profit margin, but that's 18 cents per dollar. I don't find that to be gouging. And Democrats want to keep spending money and making more social programs that we pay for and giveaways, but then they just drive up the cost of everything, living, insurance, interest rates, and everything. It's a disaster. So who do you blame for out-of-control prices at the grocery store, gas stations, restaurants, insurance, cars, homes, everything? And how did we get here, in your opinion? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chris and Granbury, you are on WBAP. What's up?
Thank you, Chris. I want to let everybody know this is what I think. Okay, we got here because of the last election. I blame all of these governors, AGs, the law enforcement. I blame the rigged voting machines. I blame all of these people who had any hand in putting this administration in there, because if it hadn't been for all of that, Trump would have been the president still. But since that happened, that's why we're here where we're at. And from what I see, all them people are still in them same places. So what are we going to do if, I don't see no change myself.
Well, I mean, look, I disagree with you on some of that stuff. I think that Trump shot himself in the foot, and I think that he's doing it right now. But his policies and his leadership are exactly what's needed, but he's got to stop being so nasty so he can win. And really, his policies are amazing. And look at this right here. I have a couple things to share with you that are stunning. Here's a guy. This was a viral video that was out a couple of weeks ago or a month or so. He went out he looked at his 45 essential items that he goes and gets groceries for, and it was $127 for these 53 items. And in 2022, and 2 years later, it's now $414, from $127 to $414 for 53 essential items. That is insane. Second of all, I have this chart from the Daily Mail, America's Grocery List 2024. It's got a list of essential items: milk, eggplant, zucchini, grapes, whatever, apples, brisket. Anyways, under Trump, this bill was $22.03. Under Joe, it went from $22.03 to $36.48. That's a 65.6% increase. Almost a 66% increase. There's your grocery increase right there. And Joe says it's shrinkflation. They're also attacking that. What do you say about that? Oh, it's price gouging and shrinkflation. What do you say to that charge?
I don't say any of it that it's anything of a price gouging, because if it was price gouging, why do they want to wait till election time to say anything about that now?
Yeah, only when they're losing and the prices are high are they saying price gouging. They want to blame businesses who provide jobs and stimulate this economy while they punish them and hyper-regulate them. It's total BS. Chris in Granbury, appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lines wide open if you want to chime in right now. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Who do you blame for the out-of-control prices at the grocery store, the gas station, and restaurants, and how did we get here? Another thing that I haven't even mentioned yet is mechanics. It's incredible how much more expensive it is for your mechanic to work on your car than it was 3-4 years ago. And I love how people are still trying to use COVID as an excuse. What an absolute ridiculous disgrace. You're just saying that because somebody told you to say that, and you don't know what you're talking about, COVID. Dude, it's been 4 years since Biden took over. He has destroyed our economy. And Kamala, who has endorsed his policies wholeheartedly and said Bidenomics is working 5 times in the past year. Look at this, though. Back to school products are much higher this year. $300 more than 25% more this year for the same back to school items than last year. $885 is the average for Dallas residents this year, according to the Dallas Morning News. Here's a single earner, Dallas Morning News reports, who works as a teller at Wells Fargo, making a little bit more than $32,000 a year. God bless this woman and God help this woman. I honestly don't know how she lives. And I'm not trying to be negative or crude. I do not. Let me tell you something. You and I don't know what your income is. I don't know what your combined income is, but I'm going to tell you right now, you are blessed. We are blessed. This is insane. This poor woman has to make $32,000 a year. I do not know how she's making it. She's shopping for her 4-year-old daughter. She has a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. God help this woman. And I mean that. She says it's expensive, especially with the kids. Last year I had to buy 20 shirts because with little kids it just becomes more expensive because of how they make them, dirty them, rip them up. That's right. Uniforms are insanely expensive, she's saying. $558 on tech products, $190 on school supplies, $108 on other items. My parents probably spent $20 to $40 or $20 to $50 on me in the 70s and 80s. I don't know, but dang, this is insanity. For those people earning less than $50K a year, they're squeezed much, much harder, said a professor of marketing. Absolutely correct. So, it's just terrible what's happening to this country and to the people of this country. And my hope is that they can see this and vote accordingly, because it will not get better in the next 4 years if we put in Kamala. It'll get much worse. It's hard to even say that. It's scary, very scary. So that, my friends, is what we have there. I want to also get into coming up next. This is something that has rocked me today. We all saw, I don't know if you saw this in our local news, but it's been a major news story, particularly yesterday than into today. A madman, a homicidal maniac, was on the roads of Texas, in North Texas yesterday on 6:35 in Tuesday morning. And WFA TV Channel 8 reporting an horrific scene as a homicidal maniac, crashes into somebody's car, brings out a knife, and it ends up being two men and one woman, one by one, come out to help and stop this as he's jumping on a car and attacking a woman. And it gets really bad, really fast, and really horrifying. And I want to talk about how you would respond to that, and what kind of a weapon you would use, and would you help, and how many people actually helped versus how many didn't, just watched or drove away. We'll talk about that coming up at 9:45. But right now, Pat in Dallas, about inflation. Pat, you're on WBAP. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, I just wanted to say a comment on there. The trucking industry and the EPA regulations against the trucking industry.
Explain.
That really is driving up costs, because these trucks are, with all the regulations that they have on them, are breaking down, and these trucking companies are having to fix these things all the time, just with all the non-pollution BPF filters that are on these things, and that's causing inflation to go up, because the cost of all goods go up because the trucking companies are asking for more money to deliver them.
And who is responsible for driving up all these regulations and driving up all the costs by putting hyper regulations on the trucking industry?
That would be the Biden administration, now the Kamala administration.
When did they start doing this? When did this start taking place? When did you start seeing these hyper regulations?
When they took over office, and during the Obama era as well.
Mm-hmm. So it started there, and it got worse under Biden, you're saying?
Yes.
And what about the average hourly pay or salary pay for the kind of truck driving you do? What has happened to the amount of people you can recruit for work, and the amount of pay that you would have to do to get those people to work for your industry and your driving industry?
Well, I'm not a truck driver. I'm a mechanic, and I see that with trucking industry.
So yeah.
My dad actually works for a company, and is a dispatch person for the trucking company.
Yes.
And he deals with all their breakdowns, and he says it's hard for them to keep up, and then the cost of the parts for the trucks as well is just ridiculous.
You know what's interesting too? You would really, really know about the regulations that are going gangbusters in the Biden administration and previously under the Hussein Obama administration, because you work on these things. You're the one taking the parts off and putting them on and making them compliant. So you really are. That's how you really know about that. That's wild. And are these things truly making a difference in the environment, or are they unnecessary and costly for minimal effect on helping the environment?
It's really minimal effect on the environment. I mean, you got to think of diesel engines, probably one of the cleanest burning vehicles out there, especially if you put natural gas behind it.
So there you go. And there's another angle that we do not know about. Pat, you're a great American for calling in and for sharing it, and thanks for what you do to bust your butt every day to make this country go, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. A gripping account from a witness, a woman who actually was being attacked by this vile homicidal maniac with a massive knife, and was crashed into, and he was jumping up on her car, and one by one heroes came out to help the heroes that were stabbed in this insane, horrifying incident Tuesday morning on 635. The witness, the woman who was attacked at the beginning of all of it on the highway there on 635, talked to Channel 8, and it's on, I got it from their news tonight to play for you coming up next. And I want to talk about this big time. This is really powerful to me, okay? What should we do on this situation? In this situation, what kind of weaponry or tactics would you use if you saw this happening? And how many people were watching but did nothing? I really thought about that today. And how many drove by and didn't help at all? And then what would have happened if everybody got out of their cars to stop this guy instead of maybe watching and doing nothing, or driving past and doing nothing? What if you had a gun and you're there? Because I carry, and I this would be something. You got a man with a knife out there, and I feel like you have a duty to not to be Sheriff Bob or some freaking moron. You're going to be a hero, and you're going to get yourself arrested, and you're an idiot, and you're a jackass. If you are, stay in your car and keep moving because you're an idiot. But how do you defend somebody and protect people lawfully if you choose to do that? I'll tell you what my thoughts were, and what this says about humanity. Beautiful things, because this man didn't have to get out of his car and help against this maniac, and he got stabbed several times. And a nurse came out to help him, and she was dragged by a car by this homicidal maniac that he carjacked. And a tech dot guy got out, and he tried to help, and he got ran into, smashed. I mean, this is the people that stepped up got horribly injured, and I feel it breaks my heart. It really does, and it hurts because I don't want people to be discouraged. I'm so proud of these three, and I would like to think that you and I would help in the right way, not in a jackass way. So don't hear what I'm not saying. That is next we'll get into this at 9:52. Coming up next, you'll hear the report from Channel 8. I'll explain more details on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. All right, this is horrifying, what you're about to hear. A woman is driving at 7 a.m. headed to work on 635. Sound familiar? And all of a sudden she gets sideswiped by some guy who sideswiped her and several cars. It caused him to slide into the back of the trailer of an 18-wheeler, reports WFAA TV Channel 8. You hear some audio from the report in a moment. The woman says once she got out to check the damage of her vehicle, she noticed the man get out, go towards the back of his trunk, get a knife, and charge toward her. Can you believe this? And he was banging on her window, said he had so she said a man in an orange shirt holding a pipe approached the maniac, trying to stop him. What a hero this man is. And for that, he was stabbed several times. She was hit in the head, but the man was stabbed several times, rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He's still in the hospital, but recovering right now. Critical condition. That's very serious. Let me play the audio from WFA. It's a little chunky monkey here, a little bit of a length, but it's worth it.
He got onto my hood of my car, and all you see is just a knife.
The man in the orange holding a metal pipe jumped in to stop him. You see the two lunge at each other, and at one point, Moreno is hit in the head. But police say the man was stabbed several times and was rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
If it wasn't for him getting him away from our vehicle, I don't know what that guy would have done.
Seconds later, a TxDOT employee got out to help. Police say Moreno then jumped into the TxDOT vehicle, rammed the back of another car, and hit the TxDOT employee. The video then picks up here, where you see a nurse come to help the TxDOT employee. Moreno isn't finished. He jumps into the white car and hits the man, then hits the woman, dragging her across 2 lanes of traffic, according to police. People jump in to help and hold Moreno down until police get there.
A lot transpired in less than minutes, and it's just kind of like, if it wasn't for them, he wasn't going to be done.
It goes on to say in WFAA that he's charged with 7 counts of ag assault with a weapon, 2 counts of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, 1 count of criminal mischief. The 2 people who he hit with their vehicles have been released from the hospital. That woman, that nurse came out. She's the final hero out of 3 heroes. She came out to treat the man who was stabbed, that hero man with the pipe, and she was ran over and dragged. You see her on her back being dragged by the front of the car. This is sick. She was hit and dragged. She was going to serve that man and take care of him. I want to ask you some questions on this. What should we do in this situation? I want you to tell me what you think we should do in this kind of a situation. You can be worried about getting stabbed. You can worry about getting shot, run over. You never know how this is going to play out. The man's got a knife. What kind of weaponry or tactics would you use if you saw this happening on the road? Would you just not get out? Would you help somehow? How many people were watching, do you think, but did nothing? How many drove by and didn't help? Were they the smart ones, or were they not smart? They should have helped. And what would have happened if everybody got out of their cars to stop this bad guy, this maniac? And what if you had a gun and you're there and you saw this? What would you do? What should we do? I'm going to tell you all my thoughts on this next, and how I think people should handle it. And what's so special, these people are heroes, and they really pay dearly for it. And I'm grateful they're alive, and I'm grateful for them. They warm my heart, and it breaks my heart that they got attacked when they were helping out, stepping up. What a wonderful man that guy was to get out of that car with that pipe, protecting what could have been your wife or my wife. You know what I mean? Okay, coming up next, we're going to get into that at 9:03. And cannot wait to hear from you on this. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-9227. That's up at 10:03 on the Chris Rock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP.